Well, EV is definitely a hot space. We're seeing startups, we're seeing traditional auto players, all of them bet big. And of course, the government really is talking a lot more about the potential of electric vehicles. And joining me is Sanjay from Lithium Urban Technologies to take us through the plans and what's really worked for them over the last few years. Thank you so much for taking out the time and talking to us, Sanjay. The first thing when you hear about Lithium Urban Technologies is, you seem to be like a glorified taxi operator with EV at the core of the heart, really.
Yes, we are. We are the world's largest sustainable urban mobility fleet outside of China. We are a taxi company. We do move people from point A to point B. We started about 4.5 years ago with the premise that electric fleet is cheaper and better than fossil-powered fleet, and that's the reason that we started the company.
While you're saying that the electric fleet is cheaper and that's the core of the problem that you're trying to solve, also EV is a tough space, right? The charging infrastructure hasn't really come up. It's an expensive option. While you may not be guzzling diesel, you're still guzzling a lot of cash to get things moving. How do you really see this work? How will the startup really work out?
When we started, the whole premise is that while EVs, the cars, are about 1.5 to 2 times more expensive than their IC engine counterparts, the operating costs are about 1/7 to 1/8, right? So therefore, the whole idea is that in a commercial fleet, if a car does more than 200 kilometers a day or more, the electric vehicles are cheaper than their fossil fuel counterparts. So therefore, a vehicle doing 250, 300 kilometers a day, that's what our vehicles do today, are cheaper. So it's area under the curve. Over the lifetime of the vehicle. If these vehicles are consistently doing 250, 300 kilometers a day, there is no way that a diesel or a CNG or a petrol car can ever be cheaper than an electric vehicle.
Got it. You're saying the fact that electric vehicles are a cheaper option, but when you go and pitch to corporates, considering they are your clients, you're a B2B company, what's the pitch really like? Does it basically just come down to the cost factor? And who are really your clients in the long haul?
Cost is the main option. People do buy us because we are cheaper, not just in the short term that is here and now, but we also abate over the 3-year period any increase in diesel pricing. So, if you look at the last 5 years, diesel has gone from almost 55 rupees a litre to a little over 70 rupees a litre. So people really don't have to spend that much on that. So it's not just here and now, which is really based on the vehicles running over 200 kilometers a day, but also abatement of any future increase in diesel pricing. So while pricing is the main option, obviously hygiene factors like safety, security, timeliness, because we are a very SLA-based business, a B2B business. So if you have to move people into the office and out of the office, we have to move them on time, safe, and 40% of the workforce in the ITS sector are women. So, it is our responsibility. Their safety is really our responsibility. So how do we use a lot of technology to ensure safety and security of women?
Got it. We'll come to the safety, security of the women in a while and what you're doing to address that problem. But really, how cheaper is this compared to a petrol diesel variant? Let's get down to the basics. How does the mathematics really work out for the corporate player, for you as well?
So, just the running cost of any of these cars and their counterparts on the diesel or petrol side, just on the diesel side, which is the cheapest fuel really, is if you compare a diesel vehicle, it's about 5 rupees a kilometer, the running cost, just the fuel cost. And if you are a corporate that uses renewable energy, it could be as low as even 70 paise per kilometer. 70 paise, yes, you heard me right.
Okay, I had my...
Yeah, it's as low as that, right? So as a result, the arbitrage is almost 9 times, right, as that of a diesel vehicle, right? Now, therefore, the amount that we save our customer, we are look at EVs as a base load option. So the more they run, the cheaper they get, right? And we've saved up to 40% of transportation costs for our clients.
That's massive. So you're saying, while it's an expensive proposition to fuel it, but when you come down to the basics, it's a lot more cheaper for the...
It is, it's the acquisition cost of a vehicle. Yes, it's a normal car might cost 7 lakhs and, obviously an electric variant might cost 10 lakhs. But that difference we believe is going to come down with the BS6 norms, the CAFE norms, and the higher emission bars that are going to come up. So obviously that's good. But yeah, the acquisition cost is our problem. As long as there is a client who can run that many kilometers, and we are getting even more clients together. So morning shift in someone, night in another, two trips with one client, 2 trips with another. So as long as the vehicles are doing in excess of 250 kilometers or 300 kilometers a day, there is absolutely no option that is as cheap as an electric vehicle.
But on the other side, your books are also in the green. You also happen to make money. If it's cheaper for the corporates, I'm sure it's working out for you as well.
Sure. From day one, when we started, we were bootstrapped. We ensured that the model is such, the operating model and our business model being B2B is such that on every car is profitable. Right, it makes money from day one, and that's the only way that we can fund all of these vehicles. If we have these books on our vehicles, on these vehicles on our books, then of course we have to be profitable. Otherwise, we won't get funded. And that's something that we've assured, that all our 1,100 odd vehicles are profitable from day one, and they continue to be that.
All right, interesting. Charging infrastructure, and we ask this to everyone, ecosystem, government, is the biggest pain point, right? How do you ensure issues of a car not breaking down in the middle? That's a nightmare. Have you had such issues? How are you ensuring that it does not, if you're fueling, so to say, the movement of employees in the Silicon Valley of the country, you can't afford to not have someone reach somewhere and the car really breaking down.
Sure. Let me just split your question in two parts. One is the charging infrastructure side. So the electric car and the charging infrastructure are like conjoined twins, right? One can't exist without the other. When we started, and even today, we've created what is India's largest charging infrastructure, and this I mean is fast charging infrastructure, something that charges the car in less than 60 minutes from 0 to 100%. So we have that now in 7 cities, almost 1,000 charging points across the city. We've also done a joint venture with one of India's leading distributed solar companies, so that for our charging hubs that we have now set up as part of the joint venture in Gurgaon, in Pune, in Hyderabad, these are 100% funded by renewable energy. This is to have security of supply and on a long-term basis, and ensure that this arbitrage between fossil fuel and renewable energy is always maintained for us. So that's one part, that we've created charging infrastructure for captive consumption. Over a period of time, we might actually let it out for third party as well. This is similar to a cell tower business, and companies actually created that. The second part is how do we ensure that these cars actually don't run out of charge, right? So we, from day one, created a technology layer, which one ensures that cars are constantly charged. So a typical range of any of these cars is about 120 to 140 kilometers, the real range on the road. And we are doing about 300 odd kilometers. So how do you ensure that these cars are constantly charged? And they are doing trips that are 20 kilometers in length, they are doing trips that are 100 kilometers in length. So how do we ensure that the cars that is the proprietary technology or the algorithm that we've built, so that the car is completely connected and it pumps out about 40 parameters every 2 minutes. The charges are connected to the cloud, and that's the algorithm that works.
That's the data that works. Also, Sanjay, you recently placed a massive order of 500 cars with Tata Motors. Why them? What really clinched it? Are they the best EV player or the EV producer out there, really?
I think, we have 1,000 Mahindra vehicles, right, which has been the mainstay. And we've been talking to all OEMs. And obviously for us, any new vehicle that comes up opens actually a new market segment. And for us, when the Tatas came up with this extended range Tigor, it added about 30 odd kilometers more to the real range of the current vehicle. And that was that kind of opened up a new segment for us, and that's the reason why we chose that. It's not to say that Mahindra is anyway not as good or inferior. I think it's a great product. We have 1,000 of them or more, and now we have the Tatas as well. So I think they'll all, like any other airline has, some a part of their aircraft from Boeing and a part of aircraft from Embraer. So we continue to expand. We are also doing something now with MG. And you will hear that in a couple of days' time. And those are vehicles with 300 plus kilometer range. With the Tatas itself, the Nexon. So they are different. The mobility market itself can be micro-segmented into different segments that require separate, different kind of vehicles. So that'll help us get into each of these segments.
Wonderful talking to you about TV and what the future is.
Really
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.